Now we're live. All right, guys, we are here. It is the Disney Crush live stream. Going to give a few people a chance to join. I just got a notice that the Disney Crush is now live, and we are waiting. We are live with Shane and Ted from Parkeology, and they are hosting a virtual Parkeology challenge this coming Saturday, 0404 of 2020. We're going to give a couple people time to join us, and then we're going to talk to Ted and Shane. I'm going to share this on.
Sharing it out. She's sharing it out. Yeah. Ted and Shane from Park. You know, you guys, how long have you guys been doing this now?
We've been on for about 52 seconds now, so it's been great.
Going pretty well thus far.
Well, nice having you guys. Thanks for joining us. And this has been the Disney Crush podcast live feed, and we'll see you later.
I think it's been what, Shane? 6 years or 7 years? 6, 7.
Wow.
Wow.
Maybe 7, almost coming up on 8 since the first time, I think. Wow. Maybe. I don't know.
So
a long time.
Well,
long time.
According to your website, you tried the first attempt was in 2013, according to your website.
There you go.
If people, he's fine.
I apologize. That was
no, you don't have to apologize.
Was that Mojo the monkey?
So if anybody doesn't know what the Parkeology Challenge is, it is riding every single ride in Walt Disney World in one day. And it has to be one operational day, right? That's how you put it. And you tried first in 2013, and then again in 2014, you redeemed yourself, riding 46 rides in one day. See, I know more about it than you guys.
Which will take your word for it. That sounds right.
You're probably too tired after it. So,
Toni-Ann,
yeah.
Careful. Don't scare him away.
I am a little bit of a fanatic. What made you think that was a good idea to ride every ride in one day?
Well, I mean, I guess the usual answer is that growing up, I lived far away from Disney World. I lived in the Midwest, and every year my family would be able to take a trip down to Florida for spring break or what have you. And I became obsessed with going to Disney, and we'd always be able to go to Disney, but it was only for one day.
Mm-hmm.
That was all my family could afford to go. And so that one day a year became that day that I would try to cram in as much as I possibly could. Drove my family nuts, rushing around, trying to do it. And flash forward several years. Now I live in Florida. I can go to Disney anytime that I want, running this Parkeology.com blog site with Ted, and just looking for fun things to do, and said, hey, you know what? I should do that challenge that I came up with as a kid and see if it's possible to ride every ride in one day. And then I told it to Ted, and he thought that sounded insane. And so we gave it a shot, and we almost made it the first time. And then the second time we did it, we pulled it off.
How did you guys meet? How do you guys know each other? Is that a story that you can't tell in public?
Well, it was in Thailand, and no,
when they got the monkey together.
Exactly. No, that actually is one of my favorite parts about the Parkeology Challenge. Is I knew Shane, and really legitimately knew and was friends with Shane for like 20 years, but I had never met him face to face.
Oh, wow.
It goes all the way back to mid-90s, AOL chat boards about Disney. And I often say that we share a brain, because Shane and I are like weirdly similar to each other. But, for whatever reason, we just never actually met face to face until the night before the original attempt of the challenge.
Oh, wow.
And when Shane first presented this idea to me, I was like, I'm in. That's insane. We have to do this. And I think Shane was, had a little trepidation because although we knew each other, we had never really been together. And I think he was concerned that I was going to be some like paintless nut job who you slowed him down during the ride or something. Yeah. So
and you were a panelist, not sure.
Absolutely. So at this point now, it's been going on for I've known Shane for what, 25 years or so. God, that's crazy.
Wow.
That is so cool. So you did the first time you did you've done 46 rides in one day, but now that was before Rise of the Resistance and Galaxy's Edge. How is Rise of the Resistance going to change the challenge going forward with
well, we've only had a couple months worth
before this
data
happened,
to look at,
but
for that.
I've been thinking about it. This is like, how are people going to be able to do it with that?
I think we actually did have a completion on the Disneyland version of our challenge where somebody did ride it with Rise of the Resistance. The whole thing with Rise of the Resistance obviously is the boarding group is kind of essential now. So, but that might calm down over time. Maybe they'll eventually switch to using Fast Pass or allowing standbys to come through. That's the interesting thing about the challenge. When we did it, the first time we tried it, 47 rides, and then one ride closed. I forget what it was. No, the backlot tour closed. So then we did the second time, they had only 46 rides, and then but over the years, the ride count has changed. So now you might have like Rise of the Resistance and Smuggler's Run and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. But back when we did it, we also had Ellen's Energy Adventure, which is like a 40-minute ride, and we had Great Movie Ride, which is a 20-minute ride. So Disney has an interesting way of changing the ride count so that there's always some new wrinkle that you have to account for.
We find that it's hard, and we really encourage people not to do this. It's hard to compare. Person A did the challenge 2 years ago, and somebody else did it a week ago. Well, not a week ago, but you get the idea.
Right.
As rides open and close, like Shane was just saying, Disney really balances things out. They know the number of people coming to the resort is roughly the same. And they know how many rides, I mean, literally like to the second, that they need to provide those guests in order for them to feel like they had a satisfactory experience. So they'll close rides, they'll open rides. When Shane and I did it, there was no fast passes via the app. We were using paper fast passes or running to a kiosk, and it was just at the dawn of the Disney app being in use. I can't explain to you how much time is involved in not only getting the fast passes, but when we did it, but remember, you also had to figure out the window for the fast pass wasn't going to open up for 4 hours. So we had to leave parks and plan on coming back to parks to use the fast pass or to get a fast pass. The app really, really changed it. It's not that one is easier or harder. They're just different. And it's different now that Rise is open, and it'll be different when Tron opens. But every single time for 5 or 6 years, every single time something has changed, somebody or many people say, well, it's going to be impossible. You'll never be able to do it again. And every single time that's been proven incorrect.
People have done it. Done it. Yeah. So we were talking.
I think it's still amazing that it's been done.
Yeah. Now, we were talking about Christina Hawkins' Epic Disney before we came on live with everybody.
You're plugging Christina here?
Yes.
Because I'm going to drop Christina like a 3-foot putt.
because she's done it multiple times. Have there been other teams that have done it multiple times?
Many.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen, we love Christina. I mean, Christina, we love you. We really do. Christina is the adjunct member of Parkeology. She is, as she calls herself, a Parkeologist junior.
Right.
But yes, there have been people who have run it literally dozens of times.
Wow. That takes a lot of energy. So not everybody has that kind of energy and stamina. So you guys are doing something this weekend for everybody who's stuck at home to bring some of this excitement while everybody's isolated in quarantine. And that is the Parkeology Virtual Challenge, right?
Yeah, and this thing started out kind of almost as a joke between Ted and myself, because before this whole pandemic problem hit the United States, it was over in China, and they closed Shanghai Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, well, we could ride every ride at Shanghai Disneyland that's open today, because there wasn't any ride open. And then gradually they closed Hong Kong and Japan, and we're like, you know what? If this keeps going, it's gonna be possible to ride every ride in the entire world that's open in a single day, because there won't be any rides that are open.
Right.
And of course now it's escalated to be something much more serious than these jokes that we were making early on. And
right.
And we thought, Ted early on recognized that there's going to be so many people around the world that are cooped up in their houses and not able to just do anything that they love, much less go to a theme park and have fun. And we started wondering, is it possible for us to do some sort of virtual Parkeology challenge and just give people an activity from home that they can engage in and remember the fun times that Disney brings. And so we hatched this idea for the virtual Parkeology challenge.
Cool. So it's going to be go. What?
So the idea for the virtual Parkeology challenge is on Saturday, April 4th, beginning at 11 a.m. We are going to invite whoever signs up at our website, parkeology.com, to have an opportunity to ride every ride at Disney from the comfort of their own home. And following the traditional rules of the Parkeology challenge, you have to tweet out a picture of yourself on the ride. And by that, we mean using something around the house, whether that is props that you have, or costumes, or even just stick figures that you're drawing, or the TV on in the background with a picture of the ride. Whatever it is that represents that ride to you, that's what you tweet a picture of yourself with that setting or that prop. And Parkeology, me and Ted will tweet out the ride order. So starting at 11 a.m. on Saturday Eastern time, we're going to tweet the first ride. Okay. It'll have our pictures combined that we've taken for these rides, and then everyone else that's signed up should drop their ride one as well. It should be the same ride that we just did, and then throughout the day we're going to drop a ride every 10 minutes or so, and by the end of it, we'll have hit all 52 rides at Disney World. And if you have the stamina and the energy to keep up, you'll have virtually ridden every ride at Disney World in a single day.
So it's going to take around 8 hours or so to complete this?
Well,
yeah, I think the math worked out to just under 8 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, because there are no virtual rehabs.
So no virtual rehabs.
Yeah, the train is up and running.
Cool.
Yeah. So it when we first started coming up with the structure of it, we realized, like, geez, that's a long time. Should we cut it to 5 minutes between rides, let's say? Well, we stuck to 10 minutes, and I have to tell you, it's much more of an actual real challenge than we originally thought. Like, our initial concept was this will just be a fun, easy thing. The real Parkeology challenge is this very physical thing where you're running dozens of miles, and this could be done from your couch.
Right.
But when we started to actually think about, well, how do you represent Everest, or how do you represent Flight of Passage, or whatever, you realize it actually takes quite a bit of creativity and thought, and doing that in 10 minutes is actually difficult. Like legitimate challenge. Like, it's no longer a kind of joke fun challenge. I think it's an actual real challenge. Now we are bending our rules a little bit by allowing people, very much including Shane and I, to take the photos ahead of time.
Right.
So really, you have a whole week leading up to this that if you want to, you can pre-plan and take the photos and then just tweet them out the day of. Some people have said they don't think that's as much fun, and they're planning on, they might know what they're doing, and they might even have everything accumulated, props and so forth, but they're going to do it all live. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think, Dave, you need to go buy some blue paint so you could ride the Navi River journey.
I think so.
Just
as long as you're not wearing pants, Dave, we're okay with it.
You look just like her.
Did I?
That's that's like the most elaborate audio animatronic they've ever created. To you, it's man. Joe Rohde's rolling in his grave.
He's not dead yet.
He's not dead.
He's still alive.
He's somewhere in his reality distortion field.
Oh, yeah.
I
keep thinking that earring's going to get caught on something. It's going to rip out or something.
He's a character.
The other aspect, I think, with this, I'm sorry, the other aspect with this challenge that I think is kind of fun is that, even though it can be as challenging or as not as challenging as you want. If you want to be one of those people that tries to scramble and get your picture every 10 minutes, great, have at it, have fun. And if you want to just, queue up 52 photos throughout the course of this week and then just tweet them all at the end in the order that we provide, great, we don't care. This is really just intended to be a fun activity for families to do. And I mean, your great reward that you're going to get out of this is obviously, the feeling of self-worth that comes from taking 52 pictures of silly props from your home, but also a really nice clip art badge that Ted has put together that we'll be able to share virtually with anyone in the world. So it's going to be quite an experience.
I think it's a great idea, especially for families. They're cooped up at home right now, and this is a great thing to do with the kids. And if you start working on it now, I think that's wonderful. I really do, because you're never going to do the Parkeology challenge with your 4-year-old, but you could do this one.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really been great because many teams. We have over 175 teams that have signed up at this point.
Cool.
Whereas maybe the biggest Parkeology day ever was what, Shane? Maybe 25 teams or so, like 25 or 30. So, I mean, we have a tremendous response to this. You have to remember, many of the teams are 2, 3, 4 people. So you have hundreds and hundreds of people who have signed up. And many of those are precisely the ones with children, or other reasons why they might not be able to deal with the physical reality of the original challenge. And I think really anytime, but especially now when everybody's cooped up, this was the reason behind this. Everybody's cooped up. They're going a little stir crazy. The parks are obviously closed. This is a great, fun way for people to experience and share something together. And the reason we are adamant about the idea that we will tweet the ride order and everybody does the ride order in the same order that we tweet out is it's the idea of virtually experiencing riding these things together. The idea that you're not just cooped up in your house by yourself, but for a moment, you'll be on Pirates of the Caribbean with 175 other teams. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that Twitter feed of people's creativity and what they come up with.
Yeah, it sounds so cool. It's kind of, because Disney is kind of our escape, and we haven't been able to go to Disney. So a lot of people are going stir crazy, and this is absolutely amazing. I want to go to Disney just to get away from the house and our regular activities around here to, from the stress that we have working and stuff, because if I stay here, then I have a long list of things to do, like a long list of things to do. And I don't want that. I want to go to.
He's already working on his challenge.
I want to go to Disney, and this is a great way to go to Disney. You guys are amazing. Sounds really cool.
Signed up?
I'm going to now.
He's going to now.
I just found out about. I'm going to sign up.
I told him about it today, and it's Parkeology.com. Is that right?
That's absolutely right.
All right, so that's where you need to go and sign up. So did you? That's what I put up there. So I was glad I had the right banner. Dave, did you have any other questions about the virtual challenge, the real challenge? Dave tells me he'll never do the real challenge with me. I asked him about it years ago,
No,
And
I'm
he
old.
said,
I'm
he
old.
said
And
no.
I'm old and out of gas. I don't know
He
how
said
to.
no. I said, you got to watch this video on YouTube. These two guys, they run around all day riding every ride. He's like, nope, not going to happen.
Mm-mm.
So,
I might
Dave,
make it.
I'm not exactly a spring chicken here, my man. It's like, come on.
I don't know. It sounds like something my daughter Olivia and I might do, or my daughter Brianna.
We love the family.
Yeah.
There are the family runs are by far my favorite. There's a group out in California, a dad and his young daughter who's, I don't know, maybe 8 or so, who completed it. They ran it once and came
Awesome.
close, and then they ran it a second time and completed it. I just love that. I love the idea of families bonding over that. It's because legit that makes memories. Those kids,
yeah,
will
she's
remember
never
for their
going to
whole
forget
lives.
that. No.
Yeah. And I think you're going to find the same thing with this. I really do. When I first found out about it and looked into it a little bit, I'm like, wow, these guys are geniuses. I mean, this is amazing. This is really cool. This is something that, a lot of people need and want and would participate in. So
Thank you.
What's Uli's question? How many attractions are at Disneyland? How many attractions are at Disneyland?
About 50.
Okay,
It's
so
right
it's-
about 50.
but
Yeah, and
you don't have that distance between the parks that you have at Walt Disney World that makes things logistically a little bit more difficult at Walt Disney World, right?
yeah, that's what makes the Disneyland one a little bit different. Also, just note for the purpose, we are a ride challenge, so it's every ride at Disney. So attractions like Country Bear, Jamboree, or Enchanted Tiki Room, or Hall of Presidents, those are shows, and there's no actual moving vehicle involved, so we don't include those in our challenge. So when we say there's about 50 at Disneyland, that's 50 rides or so.
Right. But you guys do include like the Main Street vehicles, and because I know that's a crick in some people's plan when they do the actual challenge is getting to the park in time to catch those Main Street vehicles or the riverboat, things like that.
At Disney World,
yeah.
Disneyland, frankly, is much better in the regard that they run the Main Street vehicles all day long. They're going up and down Main Street. It's really not a problem. At Disney World, they're sporadically open for about an hour a day. Sometimes 2 hours. Sometimes they come back in the afternoon, but nobody really knows when. So believe it or not, it's not Flight of Passage or Space Mountain or something. It's the Main Street vehicles that have derailed by far probably 10 times as many failures have happened on Main Street vehicles than any other ride.
So you've lost the challenge by 10:30.
Yeah, it's happened.
Yeah,
It can be frustrating.
It has happened when people have lost it almost before the park opens because they just didn't run them that day.
Yeah.
Oh man.
One of the, and Main Street vehicles isn't the only one, but it's the biggest culprit for that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of other rides that'll open later than the park, or they'll close much earlier than one of the with the virtual challenge. Is that we're not limited by having this great distance between parks, so we can pick this ride order, and we plan to do it this way. Pick a ride order that would not really be realistic in the sense of something you could actually do on a real challenge day. So we plan to jump all around, but also kind of keep some of the flavor of the challenge with some of those early closers. We'll need to make sure we hit those first and start off with a big ride and end with a big ride. So we're gonna try to mix it up a little bit.
That's awesome. I can't wait. Now I'm working Saturday. I'm a nurse. I know I talked to Shane earlier about this. So I am working Saturday, but now that you said we could do the pictures ahead of time, maybe I'll be participating in my scrubs or something.
That'd be awesome. And we've actually had some people ask. We posted a little meme the other day that said we listed a lot of the reasons people usually give for not wanting to do the challenge. I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't want to ruin my vacation. And we said, now you have no excuses.
Right.
And then a woman wrote and she said, well, I'm in Australia and it's 2 a.m. When you start. So that's kind of a legit excuse. And what I said to her was, listen, we're not cracking whips here. If somebody wants to run it a few hours late, if you get home from work and you want to tweet out your photos a little bit after everybody else, listen, that's a-okay, and would love to
Yeah.
see them.
There's really very few losers in this challenge. I get the impression.
The normal Parkeology challenge has a very low percentage of people who complete. The virtual Parkeology challenge, we want everybody to complete.
Awesome. That's awesome, guys. That's really great. Well, Dave, did you have anything else, or?
No, I'm going through in my head of things I could do, though. I mean, I'm thinking about it, like all the rides, and you could really be kind of creative and do some really cool
do
stuff.
some Johnny Depp eye makeup for the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Hey, you never know.
You got some mascara. Are you wearing mascara right now, Dave? It's hard to tell.
Like the Tiger. He's been watching Tiger King, so I think he's happy.
Didn't think you'd notice.
Boy, that Tiger King has really become a thing, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody in the world. Yeah.
I might do that, Amy. I might be in the car with my mask on.
Yeah, this Tiger, I don't know. I just found out about that too. So I guess I'm gonna have to watch that now. So
you got to get through. I just finished it. It's
did you? Oh,
it's hard to even explain, so I won't attempt to. But yes, it's great. It's just weird.
Yeah,
that's very weird.
Yeah, it's disturbing. I've heard even it's disturbing.
It made me think a lot of Shane while watching it. I mean, everything about it, I kept thinking, like, there's Shane. That's exactly Shane. Yep. Shane.
Right. I was going to say that, yeah, it's weird. Unlike two middle-aged men doing a virtual theme park challenge from home.
Nothing weird about that.
No.
Yeah, you guys should do a documentary on this, maybe.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
No, we're now in the midst of Ozark, so I don't know if you've seen that, but
I've heard a lot of people into it. I've not watched it.
Yeah, that's a little crazy. So, but I'm gonna forego all that, and I'm gonna watch you guys
on Saturday. This upcoming Saturday. Block out the first 8.5 hours of your day. Virtual Parkeology challenge.
11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Correct, and it is important that people remember, if they're not on the East Coast, like I'm in Chicago, so I'm Central, adjust the time for your time zone, because we're all starting at the same time. Okay. So if you're in Australia, it's 2 a.m. That's just what it is. Deal with.
Right, and we have a lot of friends in California, so
8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Adjust the times. Now, what was the motivation for this? Just because of the situation that we're all in right now? Is that what started this whole thing? Because of the
pretty much. Everybody was going stir crazy. We just thought, maybe we can come up with a fun activity that lots of people can have fun doing, and hopefully won't drop out halfway through because it's so exhausting.
Yeah, I don't know. When I first found out about you guys, I'm like, how can it? I didn't think it was possible first. There's just no way it can happen. How can they do it?
Well, nobody did. With the real challenge, the non-virtual challenge, it's hard to explain now. I guess you said what, Tony? It's 7 years later, 7.5 years later. Yeah. It's hard to explain how literally everyone, including me, thought it's absolutely impossible. We'll get through 15 rides or something, and that it is impossible. Well, as it turns out, it's not impossible, and now it actually is. I don't want to say routinely done, but when the parks are open, it's, people are out there doing it, and it's become, there's a whole subculture and ecosystem of people who are really into it. And as I was saying before, Tony, some people who have run it literally dozens of times.
Wow. Now I know when the calendar comes out, when Disney publishes their park hours, there are certain days that are better for doing this. Days when the park opens early, closes late. Now you guys have don't you have different levels if they do it in a certain number of hours that the park is open versus a day when the park opens at 7 a.m. and closes at midnight? That's not as challenging as a 9 to 9. Has anybody ever done it in a 12-hour period?
Well, actually, I believe the fastest is somewhere in the 12 to 13 hour range. There was a time back last August, really, when Galaxy's Edge opened, and it had
The 6
really
a.m.
early
the
hours.
6 a.m. hours, yeah. You could do
Yeah,
all,
but Rise of the Resistance wasn't open yet,
Mhm.
and it was opened at a kind of a downward time for the park. So the parks were pretty much empty. It had
Yeah.
insanely long hours. So people were finishing it in very quick times. Now the actual park hour day is what we count. So if the park was open for 18 hours, that's what it goes as
Right.
on our tracking site. But yeah, people can finish it pretty quick
Right.
when Disney gives them the opportunity to.
Yeah. I remember that when the parks were open, when Hollywood Studios opened at 8 a.m., 6 a.m., I rode every ride in Hollywood Studios by 9, so I could see
there
how
was a time period there this past summer where people were completing the entire Hollywood Studios park before the other parks even opened.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's crazy.
It was really just oddly enough, there was a month or two period where the challenge became very, very accessible.
Mhm.
Much, I hate to use the term easy because it's never easy, but
Right.
much more accessible and realistic to complete than had ever been imagined before. So it very much does depend on those park hours. Now, I saw Amy had asked a question. I'm not sure if do all the people ride, do people do all the rides in one park challenge? I'm not sure if I understand the question, but to be clear, it's not just one park. It's every ride throughout all 4 parks at Walt Disney World or 2 parks at Disneyland.
Yeah.
So you are going back and forth and park hopping. And in most cases, you can't even finish all the rides at one park and then move on to the next. For various reasons having to do with when certain rides open and close, you usually need to go back and forth between the parks several times.
Right.
So Amy says, is that separate? Is that a separate challenge? So there's kind of 2 challenges here, Amy. The virtual Parkeology challenge, which is the fun thing we're doing this weekend, and then there is, and we've got it answered. Okay.
Well, say it again.
The real challenge is all 4 parks or all 2 parks at Disneyland, 4 parks at Disney World, every ride. Actually, Amy has sort of stumbled across something here that I actually had forgotten about. We actually do have 2 levels of our challenge. You did get me, Amy. The most hardcore of hardcore challenges is not currently possible, even when the parks were open. And that is to ride every single ride on property, period. No rehabs. So you would have to find a time when every single ride was operational. There are very few times when literally every ride is up and running. When they started to do these long rehabs, like the railroad is down for several years as they build Tron, we introduced a secondary challenge, which is every open ride.
Right.
So any ride that was open that day would have to be ridden. But the hardest of hardcore would be people who would wait until that rare time when every single ride was open, and then you do every single ride on property, all operational, all in one day. And that has been done. We did it, and several other people have done it as well.
Amy, if you want to learn more about the actual challenge that they did, I will post a link to their YouTube video of their escapades in 2014, the first time it was done. So
that was the very first time, was 2014.
I think that's right. Yeah, the first time it was attempted was 2013, and the first completion was 2014.
Wow. So you guys are experts now, then? Hey. Mm-hmm.
We are
Oh, yes.
definitely the experts at idiots
Well,
trying
except
to
for
ride
Christina
all the rides in
Hawkins.
one ride.
Except for Christina Hawkins.
We will drop her like a bad habit.
Who is this
There's-
Christina Hawkins you speak of?
No, you know what? Christina actually completed with Shane at one point.
Yeah, I saw that.
Shane stabbed me in the back. Long time, 25-year friendship. He just stabbed me right in the back and ended up running it with Christina. And I don't even remember. Did you guys complete it, didn't you?
I think we completed it. Yes, we were the oxygen-free completion that did it
Oh, that's
without
right.
fast
I
pass.
totally
Oh, that's
forgot
right.
about
Without
that.
fast passes. I remember that. Oh my God. I can't even imagine.
So the reality is he did not stab me in the back. Shane practically begged me to go down there and do that with him. But Dave, not unlike you, I like to not wear pants, and I like to have, as low stress of a life as possible. So I've
Oh my
sort of
God.
retired from the real hardcore deal. I did it. I felt good about where I was. But Shane and Christina went out there, and they were the first to ever do what we call oxygen free, which means forget the app and even forget paper fast passes. No fast passes.
Wow.
Which is
See,
really, really impressive.
yeah,
That
I would.
really
I
is.
wouldn't think that would be possible. I just.
But there's a lot of logistics. You have to think about transportation between the parks and bathroom. We joked about diapers, and eating. I mean, I'm sure you probably just do like granola bars and stuff. Is that what you do? And
Well, not Christina. Christina's like a rolling golden corral
in her backpack.
She's got she's got like a carving station going in the back seat of the car. It's a whole situation with her. You also have to understand, Christina has, I think, 23 kids. She has a lot of kids. So she's used to juggling this type of situation.
Oh my God. All right. And probably going without bathroom breaks because she's the mom. So
she is a driven person, and she is the queen of spreadsheets.
Okay.
She has like bathroom breaks down to the,
Oh, you're allowed to go now.
15 and 30 seconds. Go.
On demand, whether you have to go or not.
See, I see that. I see that in her. I do. I do.
Yeah. All right. So Parkeology.com, sign up now for Saturday. And you have to have Twitter, right? You have to be on Twitter to sign up with your Twitter handle. And
a lot of people literally sign up for Twitter only to do a Parkeology challenge.
So you guys drive a lot of business to Twitter.
Well, we're keeping that place afloat. I gotta tell you.
I'm telling you.
But it's free. It's super easy. Even people who have never used Twitter, it takes 2 seconds to
figure it out. Right. Right.
So
if you're going to do it,
go for it.
If you're going to do it, make sure you plan, because I do think that if you're brand new to this whole challenge and are just thinking, oh yeah, this sounds kind of cool, you probably want to just notes at the very least about what you plan to do for each ride, because I think what we're hearing from some people that have signed up is that when they really get into it, 52 rides is a lot, and coming up with things like for Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean, that might be easy. When you start thinking about Astro Orbiter and Main Street Vehicles and some of these other tougher rides, finding the essence of it can be really difficult. So much like a real Parkeology challenge, some planning will never hurt you in this case.
Yeah, because, when you guys were debating the 5-minute or the 10-minute thing, that 10-minute, you might need those 10 minutes to really, especially if you're
going to need the 10 minutes.
Yes, I would think so. Especially if you're just going off the cuff and not doing it ahead of time. So I would think, 10 minutes is still kind of pushing it. 10 minutes goes fast. You don't realize it.
It goes very fast. The other thing is somebody had mentioned, yes, the Twitter account needs to be public. The idea of Twitter is that so we can all follow along and watch and see each other do it. So it has to be public. You also have to use hashtag Parkeology Challenge at Parkeology. That allows everybody to see what you're doing. On a normal day, it's so people can follow along, and you know, it very much turns into a spectator sport. During the virtual Parkeology challenge, I think it's just going to be an incredible deluge of photos pouring down constantly in the Twitter feeds. That really should be a lot of fun to see. What is your creative take on the Wedway People Move?
Yeah.
Or as it's now called, the Tomorrowland Transit Authority. But, you know, what is your take on the Kilimanjaro safaris? You know, Shane has a good one. I won't spoil it for you, but he has a good Kilimanjaro shot that's going up.
Okay.
Keep an eye out for it.
Okay. Virtually.
Yeah, it looks like,
go ahead.
I was just noticing the question. Yeah. The question about how do we come up with the name Parkeology. You know, it existed. Ted and I did a blog called Parkeology, and the whole point of the blog was just insane, ridiculous, really obscure details about Disney that we've been obsessed with our entire life. And so just like archaeology, that we just called ours Parkeology to kind of go along with that. But that was the genesis of Ted and my relationship online, because it was not this silly challenge. It was our insane obsessive look at Disney parks. We used to play Disney trivia games virtually way back on AOL, just like trying to stump each other. And Ted is really one of the very few people, probably the only person I know personally that goes as deep as I do into some of the Disney history and the little known details and the minutia of the Disney parks.
That's awesome. I think virtually, you guys are talking about virtually riding the Astro Orbiter. That's probably the only way I'll ever ride the Astro Orbiter again. So it's pretty good. I hate that ride. I really hate that ride. What is that, Chad?
Chad, if you go to parkeology.com, you should see up in the header, there's a section that specifically says Parkeology Challenge. But even before you go there, the first article you'll see on the front page, it has a little meme where it says it's a picture of Walt Disney, and it says it all started with a virtual Parkeology challenge. If you click there, you'll see a little article that lists the rules and everything.
I can actually.
What's up, Travis?
Is Tony gonna bring up a link here?
Yeah,
He's right on top of it. Hey, Travis.
Yeah, that's something you need to do, Travis. I think Travis is going to be all over this one. That sounds like something.
Yeah, Travis rides Flight of Passage at home all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Really? Well, I'd love to see that.
This is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get stuck there. I know.
We just, as we've been saying, it's fair game to take your photos ahead of time if you'd like. And I just took my Flight of Passage shot today, so we've got that one covered.
Let me bring up a banner. Can you guys see? Did I bring that up? Yeah, I did. I've got the actual link to the. That's. So it's
that's the registration page
for the.
Yeah, I think he may have been asking about
the information.
There you go. That's going to be the very first thing you see when you go to parkeology.com, and if you just click on that article, it'll explain what it is and also have a link to the registration page.
Great.
Perfect.
Right.
Yeah, that's easy enough, right?
Awesome.
I think I can even do that.
Well, guys.
No pants required.
I might have to put some pants on, but. Well, you know what? What? Go ahead.
I want to see pictures with no pants.
Well, yeah.
I don't.
No.
I
could be big.
Remain seated, Dave.
Oh, I was just gonna stand up, but I guess I better sit back down. Yeah, this has been awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Hey, last minute too. We only talked to them this morning and said, "Hey, can we do this?" And they said yes. And thank you so much. We're honored to have had you. And we look forward to doing this on Saturday. Like I said, I have to work, but I'm excited that you said I can do it ahead of time, the pictures, and so I could still participate even though I'm at work.
Would love to see you guys.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're gonna let Ted go so he can get some pants on, and Shane so he can go feed that monkey. It's probably starving by now. So
Thanks,
Down,
guys.
boy, down.
We appreciate it.
all right, you guys, thank you so much, and thanks for
Bye-bye.
doing it, and thank you so much. I'm sure everybody. You said there's well over 100 people going to do it, so it's so great that you guys did this. So many people need something like this right now. So kudos to you guys, man. Way to go. We really appreciate it, and I know everybody else.
Thank you very much.
And
Thanks,
for people who joined us late, we're going to put this up on YouTube, and that way you can watch it in its entirety to get all the details on the Parkeology Challenge. Go to parkeology.com for more details. If you want to join, get your public Twitter account, and we will see you Saturday, April 4th, starting 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right, guys? That's right,
There you
11
go.
a.m., right?
Perfect. That's it.
That's right.
Okay.
All
right.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye guys.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming. It looks like everybody joined late. I felt that. But so if you did join late, you can always catch the replay on Facebook and YouTube. Wow, that was really great having them.
Yeah, those guys are really cool.
Yeah,
They seem like a couple guys I'd like to hang out with.
Yeah. Well,
as long as you know, the monkey's not there, and
Ted wears pants.
Ted wears pants. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great night. I'm so excited that we had some guests in the studio, and we need to do this more often.
Yeah. Thanks for pulling that together, Tony, at last minute.
Yeah. I don't know, Chad. That's what we should have asked them before they left. I can send a message. I can send a message to Shane and see if they're gonna post the results on Twitter live stream.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know. Yeah, but we'll find out and post it so everybody knows. And we're gonna keep it all updated on our site too. So if there's anything else you guys need to know, we'll let you know.
All right.
Travis, thanks for joining.
All right.
He came in a little late, but I'm glad he came. Chad, you're gonna get on. You're gonna do it. Are you gonna do it? I'm thinking about it too.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it too.
Everybody's thinking about it. I know. It's so cool.
It sounds fun. And it's something you could do with the whole family. And they said you could take the pictures. So you got a couple of days to think about what you're going to do for each ride. And you can take the pictures ahead of time. Oh, Amy, you guys joining us means a lot to us right now. So, because, we're all going through something right now. So I'm glad we have each other. The other night, Brenda Futrell had posted, she was a little sad because all of her dining reservations got canceled. Disney sent her emails. Your dinner from April 9th's been canceled. Your dinner for April 10th's been canceled. And she posted about how sad she was about that. And we talked about, in the grand scheme of things, it sounds minor, but we get it. We understand why that kind of hurts a little bit. So,
Chad's game to host the live stream coverage. How about that? Wow, Chad.
Good. Reach out, Chad. You know what? Reach out to Parkeology on Facebook. They are very responsive. If you tell them that, they would love to have you. So go ahead and just message him on Facebook. He replied to me like that when I asked him if he'd come on tonight. That was this morning that I asked him. So go for it. All right. Well, guys, I have some more work to do. Yes, Karen did make me cry with her picture of vacant parking lots today. It is really creepy to see the place empty like that. It's kind of like if you ever saw that show on the History Channel, Earth After Humans, and like 10 years after humans, it looks like this, and 5 years after humans, it looks like this. That's what Disney looks like right now. All right. All right, David, I have some work I want to catch up with. What?
Scott. I just want to say Scott because, Scott.
Oh, I think Michael waited until our guest left to come with his shirt off.
I'm not. He's doing it all himself. He just pops up out everywhere. I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea where he comes from or what he's doing. You know how he is. He just wants to be in the limelight, you know?
Well,
Right?
he's the star of the show.
Oh,
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Catch the live stream on the replay of the live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. Parkeology Challenge is this Saturday.
do that, Scott.
Thank you so much for joining us. David, say goodnight.
Good night, David.
Okay. All right.
Good
Bye-bye,
night, guys.
guys. Good night.